and welcome to yet another segment of this Ramadan special program. We continue to learn more about the Holy Month of Ramadan, a special month, a month of blessing, as was explained by Sheikh Adam Hamid, who again is our guest by the good grace of God. Sheikh Adam,
Yes, please.
in our last segment, you explained, or you read a verse that introduces fasting as the holy month. But before everything, a word of salam to the viewers.
Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
You mentioned, if I may start, you talked about righteousness as the gist of the holy month. But then I'll ask one question. What if someone is sick? How does Ramadan accommodate that?
We should remember that Allah the Almighty does not seek to put us into hardship because of the holy month of Ramadan. We talked about it in the past, and I want to emphasize it again, that the purpose of Ramadan or Muslims fasting is not to put ourselves into hardship, but rather it is to give us an opportunity to improve on our righteousness and to gain more contact with our Creator, and to improve on our relationship with our fellow human beings. So that is fasting. Now, because Allah the Almighty doesn't seek to put us in hardship, in fact, it's not that He wants us to feel the pain. No, the pain is not the aim. Though we may spend a whole day not eating, not drinking, but that's not the aim. The Holy Quran is very clear, and I will keep on emphasizing the fact as it's laid out in the Holy Quran in the chapter 2, Surah Baqarah, verse 184, which says that, O ye who believe, fasting is prescribed for you as it was prescribed for those before you, so that you may become righteousness. Righteousness is the target, is the aim, is the object for which we are fasting. Then those who are sick, definitely they are exempted, and the Holy Quran is also very clear in that. And those also who are on journey, they are also exempted. So one who is sick doesn't fast, and the question of one taking medicine and fasting doesn't arise, because the very fact that one needs to take medicine, it means that one is sick. So when you are sick, you are exempted from fasting until you recover. And the days which you did not fast when you were sick, those days you are supposed to fast them after the holy month of Ramadan.
Then a question will arise.
Mhm.
Sickness. Who is sick? Who is determined to be sick?
The person who is sick is that person who is unwell, and definitely for whom it's important to take medication for him to recover. That person is sick. So anywhere, anytime, whenever you have to take medication, it means you are sick. But the sick are of two kinds. There are some whose sickness is temporary. For example, somebody may have a headache, somebody may have malaria, somebody may have a sickness for which may last 2, 3, 4 days. For such a sickness, yes, indeed, you don't force, you don't fast. All right? And there are other sicknesses which are chronic. For example, somebody may have high blood pressure, somebody may be diabetic, somebody may be very weak due to old age. That such a person
Yes,
also will not be allowed to fast. For such a people, they are it's recommended for them, according to the Holy Quran. We will read the verses. In fact, if I read verse 185 of the Holy Quran, which clearly says that the prescribed fasting is for a fixed number of days. So it means there is no alarm. Fasting is just 30 days and it's over. But whoso among you is sick or is on a journey shall fast the same number of other days. That is the person who is sick temporarily. A few days, maybe 1 or 2 or 3. But then the Holy Quran goes ahead to say that as for those who are able to fast only with great difficulty is an expiation, a fidya, which means that such a person has to feed a poor person.
Before we get to the expiation part, because the basic challenge, the common challenge that we find, we've got our elders, someone you see and you clearly can determine he's way past fasting, or someone who's unwell. But then, according to them, well, because I think it has a lot to do with how people understand Ramadan, being a blessed month and all. So someone will say, I feel I'm fine, so I can fast. When you look at that person, you can see clearly he's not. So my question is, what happens to such a person in case they go ahead and fast?
Such a person would be disobedient to God the Almighty. And secondly, such a person will be putting his or her own life in danger, which is not the aim. And definitely, the purpose is not to put your life in hardship. The purpose is for you to take the opportunity to please God the Almighty, to be obedient to God the Almighty. So obedience means that if you are healthy, you should fast. But again, obedience also means that just in case, if you happen to be sick, or you happen to be traveling, or you happen to be terminally sick, for you, obedience would mean don't fast. Because that's the commandment of God the Almighty. But then you should, we shouldn't take fasting as a hardship that you have to pay for you to please God the Almighty, that you should put yourself in a lot of hardship. Don't forget, fasting is a spiritual exercise. It's not a physical exercise which we have to undergo. It is the spirituality that we should pay attention to. And more so, the most spiritual thing that is most important is for you to attain the happiness of God the Almighty, your Creator. When He says fast, do that. When He says that in such circumstances, for example, those who are terminally ill, don't fast, please don't fast. But then you should not forget to pay the fidya, which means that you have to feed a person for every day that you don't fast. And that also is not a penalty. It is for you to seek the blessings of God the Almighty so that you don't completely miss out on the blessings of God the Almighty because you are sick. You have not been able to fast.
So that means a person who's sick, a person who's unwell. The expiation is to pay fidya.
Fidya means feeding a poor person, and you feed him on exactly the same food that you feed on. If you are feeding on beans, it's okay. If you are feeding on chicken, it is okay.
What's the common rate?
Just the simple food that you eat.
Okay.
That's enough. And feed one person as much on the same food that you are eating. That's enough. For every day, you feed a person. You can feed the same person continuously, or you can feed one here, one there, or, for example, we in the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, what we do, because we have a central system which can reach out there, because we have so many branches, more than 200 branches in Uganda. So when we pay this fidya at our central headquarters, somebody can be here in Kampala. He pays the fidya in to the central system, and the system may find somebody in Kabera Maido, and that person is poor, and he may be fed out there.
Thank you so
much. But what is important is that anybody who misses the opportunity to fast during the month of Ramadan, he shouldn't miss out of the opportunity to do something good, to seek the blessings of God the Almighty. One more thing, which is very important. We pay the fidya again to seek the blessings of God the Almighty, that probably we may have the opportunity to fast later. So when you pay the fidya, it doesn't mean it's all over. It isn't. You are seeking the intervention of God the Almighty, that may He enable you to fast later. So you can pay the fidya, you get well after Ramadan, and then you may fast those days that you missed out.
I guess this is one misconception that Sheikh Adam Hamid has helped us understand. Dear viewers, for those out there, now we can understand when you're sick, the Quran clearly states, do not force yourself, do not force fasting upon yourself. I guess I'm right.
Yes.
And if you do, unfortunately, you'll be against the principles of fasting.
You're disobedient to God the Almighty.
Oh dear God. I'll just give you one incident. There was an old lady, and I think it was around 5 p.m. This old lady's knocked by a bike. We're dragging her to hospital. She's bleeding. to make her break the fast was one of the challenges we've ever faced in life. Because she was convinced, I'm fasting.
I don't want to break my fast. Please, later. There is another area which I want to point out too. It's another misconception and a very dangerous one. The minors are not allowed to fast, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah. People at times, sometimes the minors also want to please their God. So they feel that everybody in the house is fasting, so they should also join in and they shouldn't miss out. No, they should be stopped. At that age, they don't understand the very purpose of fasting. So for that reason, they also want to, why should they fast? They don't understand what they are doing. I told you, it's not about feeling hungry. It's not about being thirsty. That's not the fasting.
On that very note, Sheikh Adam, so what's the age?
The age
The
should
appropriate
be
age for
maturity.
fasting.
Maturity.
Wow.
And this will vary from one place to another. Different people in different countries, in different climates, their age of maturity can be different. Here, it might be something around maybe 16, 17.
Yeah, because I mean, the
But
African
here I've
way
seen
is,
people encouraging children as young as 7 to fast.
Oh,
And there have been very unfortunate incidents where even children have died because they have been forced to fast.
Oh, dear.
That's cruelty. That child doesn't understand what she or he is doing. Maybe he can be encouraged to fast a few hours, 1 or 2 hours, and from that, the child may feel proud that, yes, I've also had the opportunity
Also,
to
it
fast,
becomes
but not fasting the whole day.
It becomes a process. You prepare them.
Yeah,
So
prepare them for the real fasting. Later,
should we say the age of 12, 13?
like?
The age of 12, 13? For them to start fasting?
I told you, it is maturity. From the age when one understands what he is exactly doing.
Okay.
Yeah, the benefits. And then the body is not ready for that. When the child is a minor, the body is still growing, the brain is still growing, the mental faculties are still growing. So many things are at stake. It's because of that that children are not allowed to fast in Islam. And anybody who's doing it, I want to tell you, it's wrong.
Thank you so much. The next misconception, Sheikh Adam, or one thing that we need you to throw light upon. One on a journey. Who exactly is one on a journey? How do we define that
And
in the parameters of Ramadan?
It will be surprising that the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did not specify exactly what a journey is. And it was on purpose. Simply because the journey may vary from one person from another, from one place to another. So the journey, one shouldn't say that because you are in too much comfort. So no, for me, traveling from here up to Nairobi in an aeroplane, it's not a journey for me. It's in comfort.
Yeah.
It's not.
We normally hear
Once
that.
you know that that is a journey, please don't fast. But then don't abuse the rule also and say that you are going from Kampala to where you get it and say, I'm on journey, I'm not fasting. No, that's wrong. That's wrong. Yeah, so be sincere to your God. And the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was very clear, innamal amal biniyat, that all actions of a believer are judged according to the intention. That whatever you think that is a journey should be a journey, and what is not, you shouldn't abuse the system and say, I'm just traveling 3 miles, so I'm on a journey, so it's not. But again, one clarification. There are people out there whose very work is their own journey almost on a daily purpose, on a daily basis. Someone can be a pilot, one can be a driver, one can be a businessman who travels day in, day out. For such a person, there is no journey. Allah the Almighty said that the prescribed fasting is for a fixed number of days, but whoso among you is sick or is on a journey shall fast the same number of other days. So, when you're on a journey, don't fast. But when traveling is part of your daily routine, your daily work, then for you it is not fasting because it is a routine.
And the reason I asked...
And you are used to it. That's how Islam, easy and flexible it is. When you are sick, don't force. You will fast later. When you're on a journey, don't force. You will fast later. When traveling is part of your job, no, there is no break for you. Continue fasting. Because for you, you are used to traveling.
In your understanding, what's the essence, what's the science behind the people on a journey being exempted from fasting?
Because you are used to it. Somebody being on a journey there are two kinds of people being on a journey. One who is traveling once in a while, and one who is used to it, who is a traveler, always is a driver, is a pilot. The person on a journey is being exempted from fasting for the period he is on a journey, because the journey has its hardships. You don't have ready food. You don't. There are so many obstacles on the way. You don't know what will happen next, and one is fatigued, one is tired. There are so many problems, and because of that, I told you from the very beginning, and I will emphasize that fasting we do not seek to burden our bodies. No, it is the righteousness that we're aiming at. So when one is on a journey, you don't fast, and the option is yours. You either don't fast or you plan that journey after the month of Ramadan. If you must travel during Ramadan, then you don't travel, you don't fast.
Like you said, it's quite a challenge, because we've had cases where people try to travel for distances in the hundreds of kilometers, and they'll say, I'm going to fast.
No. You may feel fine, but God doesn't allow that. The essence is obedience. And the very lesson that we learn during the month of Ramadan is obedience. You have the food at home. You have water at home. The fridge is full. But Allah the Almighty says, no, don't touch it. And that food is lawful, by the way. And still God says, don't touch it. So you restrain yourself for the sake of God. So that's a spiritual exercise that we go through to attain righteousness and to attain nearness to God the Almighty.
Thank you so much. Sheikh Adam, now we find ourselves in challenging times where we have to be vaccinated. What happens? What happens?
COVID-19 times.
What happens? We're in the holy month. I need to get that the vax. Can I go for it?
You are talking about COVID-19 vaccination, but then there are those also who are taking injections. And they say, I just took a small injection, maybe 3 meals.
I didn't feel anything.
Really, have I broken my fast? Have I eaten anything?
Yeah.
I said, whenever you take anything into the body, you've broken your fast. Anything. Be obedient. Obedience demands that anything going in, you don't fast. But anything going in for a disease, it means you are sick. So don't take it. Thirdly, anything going in, you don't know the reaction of the body. How will your body react to that vaccination or inoculation that you are receiving in your body?
Okay.
So for that purpose, you don't fast. You don't fast for that day, and then you would fast it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. My next question, Sheikh Adam. What are the spiritual benefits that we get from Ramadan? And not just the spiritual, but the physical. Because I'm a bit intrigued. Someone asked me one time that this deprivation you people inflict upon yourself. I mean, there's no food, there's no water. Isn't it a health hazard in a way? How could you respond to such?
The holy founder of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Hazrat Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, that follower of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and the reformer of the age. In fact, talking about Ramadan, he said that, he stated that through the practice of fasting, God the Almighty desires a person to decrease one from nourishment and increase in another form of sustenance. We decrease on food and we increase on our righteousness. We pay more attention to the spiritual side of life. Man has both the physical and the spiritual side. So the much of the spiritual side, I have dwelt on it, but there are health benefits also of fasting, and quite many of them. I will mention just a few. When we are fasting, it helps to decrease on the fat content of the body. Whenever we eat, our body stores quite a lot of fat, which is not used, which can be washed off or burned out. It also helps us to lower on our cholesterol level in the body. And this also helps us to keep our hearts more healthy. These are all health benefits of when we are fasting. fasting also helps us to burn away some of the toxins in the body when we are fasting. And definitely, when we are fasting, we have a better diet. Many people eat so much and they end up being obese. It's another problem, especially in the West. Even in Uganda here, people eat quite a lot. But when you try to limit on your diet, it also helps you to have a healthy body. So at the end of the day, we come out of fasting when we have a leaner body, fewer fats, fewer cholesterols, fewer toxins. These are all health benefits.
What if someone comes to you and says, hey, I can do exercises?
That?
I can do exercise.
No. There are some things for which we need to take less food. Mm-hmm. And there is another very important spiritual benefit of fasting. When we are fasting, we pay more attention towards God the Almighty. Because eating, when we abandon it, that time that we give to preparing food and eating food, if we give that time to reading the Holy Quran, reading the traditions of the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and doing ibadat or acts of worship, it will help us to go further. That is why all holy people of God the Almighty, like prophets of God, exercised fasting in one way or another. Prophet Jesus Christ, Isa ibn Maryam, is reported to have fasted for more than 40 days. The Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, it was during that fasting in the cave of Hira that he did receive the revelation of the Holy Quran.
If I may ask.
So fasting is a practice of holy people because it enhances their spirituality and it also helps them to, to get away from worldly affairs.
We find a challenge. As we were growing up, we used to go to these mosques, mm-hmm. and then the sheikhs could tell us that you find one of the beauties of Ramadan. I think we might have touched upon this a little bit in the earlier segment, that in Ramadan, Satan is chained. Mm-hmm. So it gives an inference that if Satan is chained, then you're free, roam as you like. The Almighty Allah has given you free reign. It's the holy month. Mm-hmm. I don't know. What's your take on it?
I feel the Satan being chained, in fact, was spoken of by the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ that during the month of Ramadan, Satan is chained. But it's not a physical act. That indeed Satan is chained physically. No. It is that during this month of Ramadan, we have the opportunity, the determination, and to do more good, to dwell more on spiritual issues, to avoid sinning and being immoral. That is the chaining of Satan. So the more one is determined to dwell on improving his spirituality, and avoid that opens the gates of heaven. The Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is reported to have said that when you are fasting, the gates of heaven open. It doesn't mean that it is physically opened. No.
So it's not about Satan being chained.
It is the status which you find yourself in according to your own personal conduct. Your personal, I want to underline the word personal conduct. Your Satan might be, chained, but my personal, I want to underline the word personal conduct. Your Satan might be, chained, but my Satan might be loose. In fact, the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ went ahead and explained that Satan goes through the veins, like blood goes through our veins. So the companions asked him, Ya Rasulullah, does it mean that you also have Satan going through your veins? He said, yes, but my Satan has become a Muslim. Which means you can, in fact, what word may I use? You can try to convince your Satan to be a Muslim by you yourself giving up those evil inclinations and trying your level best to do good, to participate more in acts of worship and acts of charity and acts of doing good work. That way, indeed, your Satan will be chained. And the gates of heaven will be opened for you. How I wish that may our Satan, being chained during the month of Ramadan, may he remain chained throughout the year and throughout our lives. And may the gates of heaven being opened during the month of Ramadan, because we are emphasizing and giving more time to worshiping Allah the Almighty, to praying our daily prayers, our 5 daily prayers, to reading the Holy Quran, pondering on the Holy Quran, and taking advantage of any opportunity to do good to others. That's the life we should live. And that's the person who keeps fasting. Such a person, the Holy Prophet Muhammad said, if he continues with the same practice, the same attitude, it will be like as if that person has been fasting for the whole year or for the rest of his life.
Sheikh Adam,
Yep.
I'm intrigued.
Mhm.
So you're telling me the chaining of Satan is actually metaphorical?
The chain is metaphorical, and the Satan is metaphorical. The Satan is your inclination to do bad.
How wish we had more time. So
What did the Holy Prophet mean by saying that Satan is moving in your veins? And then he ended up by saying that his Satan has become a Muslim. Means he is no longer inclined to do good, to do bad. He is no longer inclined to sin. That's what is meant by his Satan having become a Muslim.
I don't know how to thank you. But I guess one thing we need to come up with, or one thing we need to conclude with, Ramadan seems to be an extensive concept. I guess we can spend days and days and days discussing Ramadan. But just remind viewers, for any comments, views, and questions, please feel free to follow us on our Twitter handle, True Islam Uganda, Facebook, and YouTube. Send in your questions. We'd love to engage whenever chance allows. I guess we shall try to have more of these segments as the month of Ramadan progresses. But for purposes of time, we have a Ramadan publication, before I forget. It is translated in Luganda. All the basics, all the elementaries, they're explained in this book. These books can be downloaded because they've been uploaded online on the website www.islamictreasury.org.ug. For those who are interested in research, they might as well visit www.alislam.org. It's a treasure for seekers. Sheikh Adam,
Yes, please.
it's good having you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for having me.